Hey everybody, this is now the quarter 2 review part 2. We're now on question 9. So question 9 is not a hard one. We have been using the slope-intercept formula, or y equals mx plus b, for a long time now. It should be second nature. We should know that b is your y-intercept. Just going to abbreviate that, and that m is your slope. So the only thing we have to do is, whether we're given a graph, or we're given 2 points, or we're given an equation, if we know what the y-intercept is, and we can figure out what the slope is, we can plug those numbers into this standard formula where we replace m with whatever the slope is. We substitute it, and we replace b with whatever the y-intercept is. So let's look at this first question. Find the slope and the y-intercept of the graph of the equation y equals 9x plus 2. This isn't even like creative here. mx plus b. So m is 9, so m is the slope. So therefore the slope is 9. We're just plucking the information we need right out of that function. And your intercept, b, is 2, a positive 2. So there you go. First question's done. Next question is exactly like the first one. Figure it out, plug it in, move on. Here's one that's a little bit different. It says, write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line with the given slope m and the y-intercept of b. This time they gave us m and they gave us b, but they want us to plug it into our formula. So we rewrite our formula. And where m is, remove it, put a set of parentheses. X is part of the formula, it stays there. And then we have to put also, we're going to substitute in b, whatever b is. So it said m is -4, we drop in a -4. It says b is 8 over 5, we drop in an 8 over 5. Then all we have to do is reduce to make sure we get rid of these parentheses. So there's nothing here to reduce. It's not like this was a -8 over 5, so it would change the plus sign to a minus. No, we just rewrite it just like this. Y equals -4x plus 8 over 5. And you are done. Really hard stuff here. It's substitution. If you know your formula, it's easy. If you don't know your formula, then you would know where in the world you're going to put that m or that b. Here we go. Here's one that some kids have a harder time with. It says, determine the equation of the line. We know we have this formula, right? Y equals mx plus b. All we have to do from this line is we have to figure out what is the slope and what is your y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is the point where this line crosses the y-axis, right there. On your x-axis, it crossed at what? -1. So we know b is equal to -1. So now we need to know what the slope is. And in order to find slope on a graph, we need to do rise over run. So you find slope by doing rise. In this case, m is going to equal rise over run, which means the change, the vertical change from one point to the next divided by the horizontal change. So we have to make a right angle from one point to the next. Well, look at where these lines line up. The points are all here. Nice, easy points, easy to find. So to go from one to the next, we have to go make a right angle, go up 1 and over 1. So we went up 1 and we went over 1. So the slope is 1 over 1, which reduces to just 1. So we can take, says m equals 1. All right, so now we plug it all in. So y equals, do we have to put a 1 in for m? No, we don't. That's like, it's the invisible number. Sometimes we say invisible math. It's an invisible number in front of, if we just have x, we know we have one of them. And what was our y-intercept? -1. There you go. So we plugged in 1 here, and we plugged in our y-intercept, and you're good to go on that one. Next one, it says, write an equation of a line that passes through the given points. So this line contains 2 points. Here's 1 point, and there's the other point. Both of these 2 are definitely on this line. Okay? And it says type your answer in slope-intercept form. So it wants it in y equals mx plus b. But we don't have a y-intercept. Look, is one of these points, is the x-coordinate 0? No, so there's no intercept. So in this case, we have our point slope formula. Can we determine what the slope is of these 2 points? Yes. Do we have at least 1 point? Yes. So we're going to use the point slope formula. We'll write it up top here. Point slope formula. Okay. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So what we plug in here, this time we plug in an m, and whatever coordinate we pick, we're going to plug in the x coordinate here and the y coordinate there. But first, we have to figure out the slope. They gave us points. We can put either point we want in, but we have to find that slope first. So that's our old slope formula, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So 6 minus 0 divided by -1 minus 2. Keep change, change. Keep change, change. So we have 6. And that comes out to -3. Well, 6 divided by 3. Our slope is -2 because 3 goes into the 3 once, 3 goes into that twice, stays negative, so it's -2 is your slope. So we're ready to put it in. We start to put our slope in together. Okay, so we have y minus, I'm going to pick this one here so we don't have any weird signs we have to change. Our y coordinate is 0, so y minus 0 equals m. We said m was -2. We substituted the m in. X, and then we say minus, and the x coordinate is a 2. All right, it wants our answer in slope-intercept form. This is point slope form. We need slope-intercept form. How do we get it there? We have to solve for y. So first things first, order of operations says we have a set of parentheses here. How do we get rid of the parentheses? We have to distribute this -2 to each piece. All right, so we start distributing the -2 to each piece. So this becomes what? -2x. And -2 times a -2 is a +4. And we have a y minus 0. That simplifies. This just, y minus a 0. Anything minus 0, if you take nothing away, all you're left with is y. There is your formula. Y equals mx plus b. And you would be finished with this particular problem. Write an equation in point slope form for the line that passes through a given point and contains the slope m. So y minus, and we plug in a y coordinate, equals m x minus the x coordinate. All right, so we said slope was m. We plug it in where the m is in our equation, see? And then we have our x coordinate is a -9, so we put in a -9. This is why parentheses are important when we substitute things in, because this one, we're going to use them. The 4 is the y coordinate. We plug it in. Great. Now, we go to simplify. We need to get rid of these parentheses. Is there anything special going on here? No. So it's y minus 4 equals, the m can we said the m is 3. I don't know why. Maybe I wrote it sideways. The m is 3. I'm going to just say, let me fix this so you don't get confused. And then this is where we do need to simplify in here because we have minus a negative 9. So that becomes x plus 9. All right, this is point slope formula. Y minus y1, y minus y1 equals m times x minus, this time it's plus 9 because we plugged a negative number in. That's it. That's taking a point and a slope and putting it into point slope form. Here we go. It says they want to graph this. Guys, the easiest way to graph something when it's in what form? This is point slope. Point slope formula. You need to take this, solve for y. Get it in your y-intercept. I don't want to mess with this, okay? You can solve for y. So 2 ways. Solve for y, or you can pluck out the individual things that you need. This is where you have to be really careful because remember, if you remember our original formula up here, it's minus x1, it's minus x1. These minus signs have to be here to be able to pull your points out right away. It's both minus signs, so we can pull out our numbers. If you were going to use the point slope formula, here's a point. So since this is negative, we know the x coordinate is 1. Since this is a negative, we know that y coordinate is 2. And we know that the slope equals negative 3. All right, if we know that, we can come down here, put a dot at negative 3. And then, oh, we can't do that. That's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm thinking intercept. We know that we have a point, the point 1, 2. So over 1, up 2. And we know that our slope is negative 3. So we have to go down. It's technically negative 3 over 1. Rise over run. So we go down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. 1, 2, 3, and over 1. All right, there's our line. The other way to do this is you can solve this here. If you didn't want this, if you don't like this, if just solving is easier, learn one method and stick with it. Doesn't matter. It's good to have options. We solve for y, okay? So we're going to distribute that negative 3. Is y by itself yet? No. So we have to add 2 to both sides. So y equals negative 3x plus 5. So as we looked at this before, we said that our point was what, 1, 2? And we went 1, 2, 3, 1. It says that our y-intercept was 5. So if you go down 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, notice, look, it lines up in our line. So either way is good. You can pull the point out. If we can put something into an equation, we can take it back out, plot the point and apply the slope, or you can solve for y and it'll be in slope-intercept form. So either way works. And on this particular one here, it says write an equation in point slope form. Okay, so we have 2 points on the graph already. All we have to do is identify one of the points. I'm going to pick this point right here because it's all nice positive numbers. This point here is the point 4, 2. Because we went to the horizontal movement, went from the origin, went over 4, and then we went vertical movement up 2. So 4, 2. Now all we have to do is find out what is the slope. Well, I can tell you it's negative because if you start to draw Mr. Slope, look, that slope looks like his right eyebrow. So we have to go down 1, 2, and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Always double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, down 2. To the right 7. 2 over 7 cannot be reduced. That's our m. Here's our point. Now we write it in our point slope formula. So y minus the y coordinate is 2 equals the slope, negative 2 over 7 times x minus the x coordinate. And you finished. Now, which one is it? Select your right answer, which is bang, right there for you for A. All right, that's it. That's the next 8 problems that contained point slope, your slope formula, being able to go from one to the next. You need slope, you need a point, plug it in, solve, you end up with your slope intercept. Those all work together and being able to graph them. All right, that is it. Have fun. Do the next 8 problems in your chapter or quarter 2 review.